Hey, what's going on? Luke here, and this time of year is always full of controversy and hot takes, and I'm here to give a hot take of my own. I'm here to do my early predictions for the Game 1 side for the New South Wales Blues, obviously barring injuries, suspensions, all that sort of stuff, and major form drops, and maybe just my team in general might just be bad. Just let me know in the comment section below when we finally get to it. But yeah, this time of the year is always a great time of the year, always so much speculation. There's always so many differing opinions of who should be picked, and it's got to be James Tedesco. Oh, it's got to be Dylan Edwards. It's got to be Latrell Mitchell, Tom Trbojevic. Nico Hines got to be there. Nico Hines can't be there. You get exactly what I mean. There's so many differing opinions on why players should and shouldn't be there. But I'm here to give my 1 to 17. I'm even going to give an 18th man with this one. Now, look, no right or wrong answers here. We got a brand new coach. We don't know exactly who they're going to pick. And this is just me personally. This is my side I'll go with. If I was a coach, which I'm not, so obviously grain of salt with this one. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into the team that I have picked, especially considering we're starting with the fullback, which I think debatably probably it in the 5'8" position. Probably the most controversial ones in terms of who you pick and who you don't pick. Plenty of options for fullback for New South Wales. That's not a problem. We have Latrell Mitchell, who's obviously an option for multiple positions. And that's with the fullback position for the Blues. They're sort of, as we've seen in previous years, just because they're a fullback doesn't mean they play fullback. A lot of times they play centre or wing, so you've got to keep that in mind. But the incumbent is James Tedesco. He is the captain. The talk of the town at the moment is Dylan Edwards after premiership, great performances, arguably career best form, and that's after premierships. Made his Australian Kangaroos debut last year on the wing. Definitely should not play wing. He was pretty awful on the wing, let's be real. But he's not a winger. He plays fullback. James Tedesco was looking pretty washed last year, and depending on the game this year, some points he's looked absolutely washed. Other times he's looked like the old Tedesco of old. Trbojevic, Latrell Mitchell's ruled himself out. So many options. Who am I going to go with? I'm going with James Tedesco. I feel like there's going to be so many people being like, I can't believe you just said Tedesco. But the reason being is with Dylan Edwards, obviously there's the unproven in terms of the Origin arena. He's done at State of Origin level. So, look, by no means am I saying Dylan Edwards is not up to scratch. I think if you select him, fantastic job. I'm just going with Tedesco purely for this first season under McGuire, and just, I think with how he plays, I don't see this being like a super high scoring game, and I think Tedesco, he just knows what Origin's about at this point, and even when we've lost, he's not played bad, he just hasn't played as good as what he has when we've won, but he's still been one of the better players in New South Wales. He's the captain. I think he will get picked. If Edwards gets picked, I'm extremely happy with that, because I think Edwards definitely deserves it. Whether he gets it, though, remains to be seen. But I've just chucked Tedesco in there for at least game 1. But yeah, him or Edwards, I'm happy. I don't think Trbojevic, Latrell Mitchell, definitely not. And there's really no one else who should be in the talks for fullback. I can't really think of anyone else. So yeah, I've gone with Tedesco. On the wings, I've gone with Brian To'o. He just picks himself. He's going to be there. I don't think I've seen anybody not pick Brian To'o. It's the other wing position that is a big talking point. Zach Lomax, Josh Addo-Carr. Even putting guys like Trbojevic, Critter on the wing. There's a fair few guys. I'm probably missing some as well. But yeah, there's lots of talks. Daniel Tupou is always in talks. Suaalii is another one. There's so many guys who could play wing, but I'm going with Josh Addo-Carr. I'm a Bulldogs fan, so he's going to be biased, but just with how I've sort of structured this side, I think Josh Addo-Carr is the best one. He's played Origin plenty of times. I think chucking in Zach Lomax, to me, it doesn't do it. He's played some okay games for the Dragons, as have a lot of guys for the Dragons. This whole thing on Zach Lomax is carrying the Dragons. I don't see it. When he plays centre, gets found out big time. So versatility isn't really there. In terms of the wing, he doesn't even like playing wing, so it seems weird to pick him there. Suaalii as well, off the Union. I don't really see too much of the hype, to be honest with you. He's not even the best winger at his club, or he's not even the top 2 wingers at his club, Dom Young and Daniel Tupou. So why would you shift him onto the wing all of a sudden just for State of Origin? It seems very, very strange. And Josh Addo-Carr, I think, with a pairing in the centres of Stephen Crichton, because that's who I'm going with, Stephen Crichton in the centres, or the other centre, Tom Trbojevic. They've linked up before. Between them, there's combinations there that Josh Addo-Carr's already played with. And in a game, he's bulked up a lot, so he's definitely a little bit more involved with the contact. And as we go further and further along with the side, you'll see that it's very primarily defensive based. That's kind of what I've gone with. I think that's what McGuire would go with. But you do need some guys with a little bit of X factor, and the rest of the back line doesn't have a hell of a lot of X factor. Like Brian Toy, you're going to get a guy who just makes a lot of meters. Same with Tedesco, doesn't really have the X factor at this point. Tom Trbojevic does, Stephen Crichton does, Josh Adokar does, and I think that's where your points come from. And that's the reason I'm going for him. And also it links up with the 5'8". I'm going with Matty Burton. I think Matt Burton, you chuck him on the left side, you have Critter out there, you have Josh Adokar. I think you got some great combinations there, whether it's the kicking game, whether it's a running game. I think Matty Burton's kind of gone to another level this year in terms of really cementing himself as a 5'8". And I'm picking him just purely because I would have picked Mitchell Moses, to be honest with you. And Nico Hines has had a chance in Origin, and even in finals footy and stuff hasn't really stepped up. Matt Burton's actually put on the Sky Blue. He's actually played Origin games, albeit in the centres, but he's played, so he kind of knows the arena. Obviously, a whole different ball game playing in the halves, but he's got Nathan Cleary, who he's played, a decent amount of footy with, so he's got a little combination with him there. You add in that whole combination of the left-hand side. Defense-wise, it's not going to be too unfamiliar, especially when you add in some of the other players. Like, he's come through the Panthers system, so he knows a lot of the guys who are probably going to get picked. And also, the big boot. I know people are going to talk about Matt Burton. No, he's just a guy. He's just got a kick. That's all he is. Matt Burton, yes, that kick it's amazing. And we've seen some of the best fullbacks really struggle under it. And I think a guy like Reece Walsh, Callum Ponga, whoever ends up as the fullback for Queensland, I think they'll have absolute nightmares with these torpedoes. Yeah, I think Cleary can do it as well, but Burton's on another level. We've seen in the Origin arena, like, it literally went viral, the fact how high he hit the ball. So I think having him there as your actual kicker, like, I think it'd definitely be a good move. Even if that's all he offers to the side, he can sort of just distribute the ball, maybe back up in support in the kick. I think that in itself is going to be quite handy. Add in Josh Adokar. He has a fantastic combination with Josh Adokar for the Dogs. And yeah, the Dogs' defense this year, as well as the left-hand attack, it's all been through Matt Burton and Kickout, and obviously Kickout is not there, but Matt Burton's been instrumental to the Dogs scoring points. And I think in terms of other 5'8", they're looking at guys like Nico Hines, who plays halfback, trying to chuck him into the 5'8" position. I know Nathan Cleary, in theory, could probably play the number 6, but we're looking at guys who you can shift into the number 6. And I don't think Jerome Luai, like, he's been tried. He's been tried so many times in the Origin arena, and he's not had one good game, I don't think. So try someone new. Try a guy like Matt Burton. This could really elevate them. They've taken chances on players in the past, like your Bradman Best and such. And even Bradman Best is a guy I would not be against him playing. But I think Crichton's going to be there. He's got the X factor. You link him up with that whole Bulldog sort of left-hand edge that's been absolutely lethal this year. And even in previous years, the Dogs sucked, but the left-hand side was good. So I think you go with that. And also Trbojevic, I didn't really touch on him. But could he play fullback? Yes, he could. Could he play wing? Yes, he could. Can he play centre? Yes, we know he can play centre. He's a very, very good centre. If he played centre every week, you'd probably be talking about him being the best centre in the game. Trbojevic has got to be there. The fact that some people don't have him in there, I think, is absolutely crazy. Latrell is someone who, I think if he played, I think he'd be good. But he's someone I can understand why you don't pick him. And that's why I wouldn't pick him either, just in terms of suspensions, fitness, all that sort of stuff. Trbojevic, though, he's still been playing pretty decent for Manly. And we know in the Origin arena, he definitely stands up. I think if he plays in previous years, like I've always talked about, when Latrell and Tom Trbojevic don't play, New South Wales don't win. I know I'm not picking Latrell, but I think Tom Trbojevic has got to be there, whether it's wing, centre, fullback. He's just got to be there somewhere. You don't leave guys like that out. Queensland wouldn't do that. If Queensland had Tom Trbojevic, he'd be playing every single time. You find a spot for him. And in terms of Matt Burton, obviously it's a bit of a risky one, but I've already touched on the halfback in Nathan Cleary. So you kind of understand that is a combination, and I know New South Wales have the biggest hard-on for combinations, and they've got to play some football together, so go for the old Penrith combination. I don't know how much first grade they actually played together, but I'm assuming they've at least trained together. They've had some sort of a little combination there. And then even better if you got Dylan Edwards at the back too, that could be quite handy. But I think Matt Burton would absolutely terrorise him with his kicks. And where in the Origin arena, where it's not, it's not like teams are scoring 40 points every game. It's usually pretty tight. I think big factors in terms of winning games and losing games is kicking game, and I think Burton's got the big boots to get them out of trouble. First off, if Queensland are piling on pressure. Secondly, the Torpy, it's just there, and even his running game has been quite good as well. And if injuries happen, can maybe shift out to the centre or something. So he's got a lot of versatility too. So there's your halves. So far we've done our whole back line. Now it's time to get into the forwards. I'm going to start with the hooker just to complete the spine. I'm going to go Reece Robson. Between him, I'm happy. I went with Robson because I actually liked what I saw out of him in Origin. And like I said, I'm not expecting the Blues to come out and have this attack-based team. I know I've gone with Adokar and all that sort of stuff, but you do need some points. That's the reason I've gone for him. The points for me aren't going to come through the number 9, and Coruscant is quite small. He's obviously worked with McGuire, so I can see him probably being a favourite, but I thought Reece Robson looked quite good in the sky blue, especially considering the Cowboys weren't that good last year, and the Cowboys are kind of, they're okay this year, but Coruscant is quite old too, so you need to look at the future as well. You can't keep picking old guys, and then, at some point you're going to have to, have the new blood in there, and Reece Robson, for me, is that. You can have Coruscant on the bench possibly, or you can even run Robson on the bench. I'm sure he can play in the forwards too, but I've personally gone for Reece Robson in the number 9. Starting front row, I've gone with Payne Haas as the first one. He definitely picks himself. He's just, I think he's the best prop in the game, best forward in the game by far. The guy's an absolute animal. The other prop I've gone for is Jake Trbojevic. Initially, I was sort of tossing up a few guys, Isaiah Yeo being another one, Keith McGillard, Junior Paulo. We have a few decent little props there, but the more I actually went through it, the more I had in my head that New South Wales had all these gun prop forwards, and we just don't. We just don't anymore. I don't know if they all left. They've all fallen off a little bit. Even guys like Clemmer, Stefano, I don't think has been good enough to be picked for Origin. For me, I think you go Jake Trbojevic. Just get through the initial phases. Doesn't have to play big minutes, but he can play big minutes, which I think would be big for the Blues too. So Trbojevic is there. And also the bench will be interesting too. We'll get to that. So just because they're starting doesn't mean I think they're the best prop, or you know what I mean. I'm looking for different combinations, and just a game plan in general. Because like I said, defensive base. Payne Haas definitely going to get through big minutes, or is capable. Trbojevic is as well, because injuries and stuff too. It's always handy to have guys who can get through big minutes. So I've done the front row. Now it's off to the back row. Going to start off with Liam Martin. So it goes back to the Penrith defense. I'm going defensive base. So Liam Martin on the edge there with Critter, who he's played a lot of football with. Adam Burton, who's also played a fair bit of football with as well. So I think it kind of helps everybody that he's there. In the Origin arena, for me, Liam Martin's definitely stepped up. I know a lot of people aren't the biggest fans of Liam Martin, but you can't say he didn't have a good series last year. And also, I just want to toss up too, there's a lot of people who have said Crichton shouldn't get picked. And I think that's purely off the fact that he's gone to the Bulldogs and he's not scoring every week. But he's on a different side. Bronson Xerri is on the left side at the moment. That's kind of our strike side. He swapped for the better of the team. He's the captain. He leads with example. Crichton does a lot that I think sort of probably goes unnoticed. And even last year, he got chucked in. And did he even get named in any of the sides initially? And he just sort of came in late. And he definitely was one of the better players in all three of the Origin games. So just how people don't have Critter in there, I don't understand. Especially the guy is known as being a big match player. So why would you not pick the guy who's a big match player? Baffles me. But Liam Martin on the edge. The other edge, I've gone with Angus Crichton. I think he's definitely had a major redemption in 2024. Last year, I was looking at Angus Crichton and I was thinking, he's done. He's definitely done. He's a little bit washed. I don't think we'll ever see him play as like a star in the NRL again, let alone State of Origin. He was struggling to make the Rooster side, but he's definitely come back, and I'm not going to say he's better than before, but he's definitely way up there in New South Wales standard for me. So I'll chuck him in the second row. At lock, I was struggling a little bit because I don't want Isaiah Yeo at lock. I think that's definitely a bad move. I know I've picked a lot of Penrith guys or guys who've come through the Penrith system, but I think it's bad. In previous years, we've literally just tried to play like Penrith. Isaiah Yeo is a ball player at Penrith. He can just play as a middle forward. He can just do that. And I think that's what he will do for the Blues. I think he will get picked, but I think he'll get picked on the bench. I think they start with Cameron McInnes. He is the captain of the Sharks. He starts in the number 13 now. Finucane is fully gone. I think McInnes, did he make his debut last year? I think he's capable of playing in the 13. And as we've seen at Origin level with some of the Queensland players, you don't need to be this massive player. And like I said, defensive base, high workload. And then the bench. I think the bench is where the Blues sort of come on. I think that's where they blow them off the park. Sort of hang with them for a little bit. and then go on with it. And it starts off with the bench. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Junior Paulo. What can you say about Junior? He's a massive guy. He has offloads. I would like for him to not really do too many offloads, but if it's there, go for it. But just his impact can be amazing off the bench. I can see him being kind of like Spencerlini when he come off the bench, but I can see Junior Paulo doing it. They tend to sort of swap and change whether he starts or comes off the bench for the Blues, but he's played plenty of Origin football, so that's not really a problem. I think he can do a job for us. Then we move on to the next player. I've gone with a back rower. I didn't want to have a team just full of props on the bench, so I've gone with Olakwatu from Manly. You can obviously start him as well. Maybe Angus Crichton off the bench because Angus can sort of play in the middle as well. But yeah, Olakwatu I think should be picked. They went to Kolomatangi last year, and Kolomatangi looked really good for the Blues, and we definitely saw a nice little combination with Cody Walker and how influential it is to pick some decent guys with form. He's fell off the face of the earth, honestly, as well as the whole Rabbitohs side, but he's playing in the middle. He's not on the edge anymore. Olakwatu is the man. Like last year, I thought it was a toss-up between them. I was happy with Kolomatangi this year. Olakwatu, give him a go, give him a chance. I would like to see that. Then obviously I've talked about Isaiah Yeo. I think he can come off the bench. He's quite versatile in terms of the forwards. He can play front row. I think he'd be decent. I initially had him as the number 10 instead of Jake Trbojevic. You could start him. You could play him at number 13, even back row. The guy's quite versatile. In terms of moving laterally, he's not great these days, but we all know what Isaiah Yeo is capable of. Is he the best forward in the New South Wales Blues side? No. Is he more than capable? Yes. And he's got plenty of leadership. I think he needs to be in the side, or at least in the squad at some point. In terms of, now we move on to the final selection of the side, and this one definitely is going to be controversial. I almost can't believe that I'm going to be saying this one, but I think New South Wales, they definitely need a utility, and they need a genuine utility, not a guy who can just come on and he can, Abby Coruscant, for example. Oh, he could play in the halves, but, if he needed to, he could play in the halves. No, we need a genuine utility, and I'm going with Dylan Walker. He does it for the Warriors. He does it extremely well. If he started at the Warriors, probably wouldn't raise an eyebrow. He plays in the halves. He's played fullback before. He won a premiership at centre. He's played for New South Wales before. Plays in the back row currently. We've got an abundance of props. That's not really a concern. But yeah, for me, we definitely need a guy who can come on and do a job for us in any position. And I think Dylan Walker is the man. Could a guy like Dylan Edwards do it? I think for sure Dylan Edwards could. But I've just gone with Dylan Walker. I really like what he brings. We saw it at Manly. We're seeing it at the Warriors currently. To me, he's the quintessential utility. He's the perfect guy off the bench. Is he a guy who I would necessarily have as a starter in the Blues? Definitely not. There's no way in hell I would start Dylan Walker in any of those positions for the Blues, but he is someone who can bring a lot of energy off the bench. And like I said, he's extremely versatile, and he's played for New South Wales before, so he is extremely experienced as well. So coming off the bench, I think immediately you kind of just go, oh yeah, any guys can come off the bench, but I think there's an art to coming off the bench, in my opinion. For me, there's just some players who are better off coming off the bench. Look at Spencerlini, for example. He's a guy who, for me, would come on and change the game completely for the Panthers when he come off the bench. You need to have a strong bench, and I think Dylan Walker can bring a lot. He can bring a lot of energy. Is he the best player, like I said? No, but I think you need a guy like him, even like your guys like Kurt Mann and stuff. I think in 2024, with all the head knocks, and you need to have a guy with genuine versatility, not this makeshift one of Nico Hines, he played the fullback. He played fullback for a little bit. That means he can play in the whole back line. No, doesn't work that way. A guy like Matt Burton, yeah, he did play centre and he played in the halves. That's versatility. Not a guy like, he can sort of play there. That's why I don't understand having a guy like Coruscant, for example. He can only really play hooker. If he comes on and plays halfback, New South Wales may as well throw the towel in. It's not going to happen. Now, Dylan Walker, do I expect him to come on and play halfback or 5'8" and do an amazing job? No, but do I think he can be serviceable and, not freak out? Yes, I think he can sort of get through the game. Worst comes to worst, he can just take hit-ups and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's my reason for Dylan Walker. I expect to get absolutely flamed in the comments for that one, but yeah, let me know. Let me know what you think of this side in general. Oh, and Dylan Edwards for 18th man, and you can swap him or Edwards out. The reason for Dylan Edwards, why I think he could be good off the bench as opposed to some other guys, I think with the way he plays, you could chuck him. Obviously, he played for Australia on the wing and he wasn't great, but I think if you want a guy who can play that that Cherry Evans, Cooper Cronk role off the bench. And, he's kind of there, absolutely, worst case scenario. Obviously, plenty of players for the Blues can jump into fullback. Critter and Turbo right there. They can easily do it. So it's not really like, we need to have a fullback there. But Dylan Edwards could slot straight in there. I think he can play in the halves. I think his ball playing is decent enough that, he could go in there and just ball play a little bit. All he has to do is really distribute to the centers, and I think he should be fine. But also, with how he plays, he makes so many meters. He takes all those shit runs. And I think you chuck him in the forwards if you need to, or just someone needs a breather, he can do that. So that's my thought process on Dylan Edwards being a chance there as well. But yeah, I went with Walker. But yeah, 1 to 17, let me know in the comment section below. Not only your 17, but what are your thoughts of mine? It is round 9, so we're a third of the way through the NRL season. There's, I think, just less than a month until game 1. So it's coming up very, very soon. So yeah, guys, time to do your predictions for Origin and let me know your teams. Anyways, going to wrap things up here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next one. See yous. Well, that's the end of this video. If you happen to enjoy it, make sure you leave a like, subscribe. You know the drill at this point. Everybody YouTuber says it. Just go ahead and do it. It'd really help me out. Also, why not go ahead and check out some of these other videos that are on the screen right now.